Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out People of Reddit. Story 1. The Nice Car and the Impatient Driver. A few years ago I was in a shopping center car park, just got my favorite artist's latest album, was putting it into the car CD player. Mr. Agro turns up in his nice, polished new car. It was obvious that he spent a lot of time, effort, and money on it. Mr. Agro decided that he wanted my park, beeps his horn a few times, very aggro body language, trying to intimidate me to leave. I'm a woman for context. So I drive around the car park a few times, go back near where I was parked, write a note saying I saw the way you acted towards that young woman, enjoy the scratch on your car, and put the note under his windscreen wipers. I didn't scratch his car, but I did enjoy the thought of this meathead frantically searching his precious car for a scratch that wasn't there. Story 2. Roommate used me, so I told his mom. Edited to fix typos *. Okay, so this happened a couple years ago while living in my first apartment with friends. There were a couple people that rotated through the apartment, but the result ended up being the same. My roommate, 20/21M, let's call him D, and I, 23/24F at the time, had gone through about 3 roommates during our lease. The first, a friend of mine, decided to move back in with family and stopped paying rent, so she left. The second roommate, let's call him J, had an urgent and very important family matter and had to move back home to care for his relative. The third roommate, call him R, decided to stay. This is all relevant later. So, when we moved in, I was struggling mentally due to some personal reasons and I quit my job. I did what I could to make money and still contribute to the bills. D picked up the slack and I was so grateful. What I wasn't grateful for was a disgusting kitchen every single day. I provided everything in that apartment except his personal items and his food. Everything else I brought or was gifted. Furniture, dishes, lamps, food, seasoning, beverages, all of it. D has also terrible hygiene. He worked in fast food and restaurant kitchen cooking and always smelled like grease and a gross kitchen after work, but wouldn't shower, just get in bed or change his clothes and then get in bed. He always smelled bad to the point I'd repeatedly request he shower. Day after day I begged him to clean up, he never did. It was always okay, yet I got it. But never hey, I did it. So I got stuck cleaning. I got tired of wanting to cook and being unable to because all of my dishes were in the sink. Our next door neighbor had roaches and I found one in our cabinet and told him to take care of it. Once he saw it, a tiny one, he freaked out and started doing his own version of a deep clean, wiping everything due with a wet rag. That's it. Between R and D, I couldn't take it anymore. By early 2022, I had gotten a great new job with amazing pay. I started contributing and doing my part with bills. I was over the moon. R, however, had not contributed a dime as he didn't have a job. J had offered to let him move in, without talking to me and D, knowing that R did not have a job. The road was rocky with J for other reasons, so I left it. R and D got along famously, which was great. D needed a friend since him and I were butting heads every waking moment. Well, one day D comes home and says his work hours got cut and he was looking for something new. All good, I could cover the slack like he did for me. And I do. From March to August, when our lease ended. In that time, the dirty kitchen got worse. I'm talking food had mold growing on it, refrigerated items were being left out, multiple trash bags in the kitchen, D parked right next to the dumpster, and the icing in the cake, a raw chicken alternating between the fridge and the counter. It leaked raw chicken blood juice everywhere. This never got cleaned. At this point, I had stopped cleaning and stopped caring. I was footing the bills for the apartment and cleaning while these two bums were off spending money on shoes and girls. I had had enough. D and I got into it one last time before move out. He blamed everything on me. The dirty kitchen, the roommates that left, bills not being paid. I told him that was his mess, I can't control other people and I'm not his mom. We didn't speak for 2 months. So, for 2 months R&D had to cook and eat in their own dishes. Reminder, they had none. I packed up all of my stuff and put it in my closet in a way that would be obvious if they moved it. They had no regard for my space when I wasn't home. Would just go in my room to use my bathroom or get a dish. They were livid. We finally move out and I clean the entire apartment, top to bottom. The carpets in their rooms had to be replaced, so we lost the deposit. We got the bill for the cleaning services and asked for their part of the payment. R still had no job and D was living back home with his mom. For months I reached out to D for his payment, but he would block me wherever I reached out. Eventually, I told him I was going to take him to small claims court and he ignored me. So, I called his mom to tell her my plans. D's mom was a sweetheart to me always. She even tried to warn me about living with him but didn't disclose why. When I told her I was going to sue, I told her everything. She asked when he last helped with bills and I told her since April. Turns out from April to August, he had been asking his mom for money for the bills and spending it elsewhere. She was livid. She assured me that I was going to get my money back and if I didn't, I could sue. He called me and immediately started cussing me out. I hung up on him. His mom checked in every couple of weeks to make sure I was getting my payments. He planned to pay it back in 2 months. It took him 6. Use me as your live-in housemaid and bank account, deal with the consequences of stealing from your mother. Edit to answer questions. I was still trying to make money by doing Uber Eats, DoorDash, and lots of babysitting because this was 2021 and COVID was still kicking our asses. Someone asked for pictures because I still have them, but I'm having a hard time doing so and as soon as I can, I'll add them. Is this really revenge? It felt like it to me. I wasn't trying to tell on him. I was trying to inform him that I was going to take him to court for the money he owed me for the cleaning bill. If you don't think this fits in the sub, suggest where it should go then. Jay was the one on the lease and he moved R in to take over for him, so no, I could not go after R legally. Edit 2. Why am I expected to clean when I couldn't contribute my entire portion for the bills, but no one is asking why he never cleaned up after himself when I started paying all of the bills? I'm not a housewife nor a maid. Cleaning can be done by everyone despite contributions to a household. Edit 3. Here's the link to show just how disgusting this roommate was. Those of you saying I should have cleaned up after him, this is the mess I came home to every day when I started paying all the bills. Y'all still think I should have cleaned? I wish I had more pictures. The red stains are blood from a raw chicken that just sat out. https://imgur.com/a/78a42rq. Story 3. Steal the power socket I'm using. Fine, I'll steal your power supply. My company is one of many that works for a government agency. There are like 10 to 20 different projects, each with their own team, so I don't know most of these people. Access to our UAT and prod environment are done through terminals specifically set up in rooms. There is around 20 in UAT and 40 in prod and demand for terminals is pretty high. It's first come first serve, so basically by 9 AM every terminal will be in use or reserved by people leaving their bags or laptops there. Also, there is a scarcity of power sockets, so like terminals, they get taken up quickly. It's not a big issue, but it sucks when your laptop dies and you need a charge. The worst offenders are people who just permanently leave something to reserve a terminal. They leave a jacket on the chair or a water bottle on the terminal like as if it's their own office. Officially you're not supposed to do this, but people do it anyway. So one such person has pretty much dominated a terminal as her own. Got a jacket on the chair, got water bottle on the terminal. Even has her own laptop charger just left there. One day I was using a different terminal, but needed to charge my laptop. She wasn't around, so the terminal was unused and her charger was just taking up a socket, not charging a laptop. So I unplugged her charger, coiled it nicely and put it on her terminal and plugged in my laptop charger. And I went for lunch. I come back, and I find my laptop unplugged and her charger plugged back into the socket. And that just really pissed me off. It's not your socket to rightfully reclaim. You had no right to unplug me when I was using it first. And now my laptop is flat. I'd like to say I had some grand scheme for revenge or something like that, but it was simple. Just wait till the workday ended and people started leaving. After she left, I just unplugged her charger and took it home. Guess who has a new Dell high-power USB-C charger at home? I didn't even know my phone had a super fast charging option. Story 4. Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the fasten seat belt sign and you may now move around the cabin. My previous career required me to travel all over the US, which meant a lot of time in airports, on airplanes, at hotels, and dealing with a lot of really shitty people. I have plenty of petty revenge stories, but my favorite one was probably the simplest one. I was on a long flight home after many days on a hard job and I was tired. I love catching up on my sleep while I am in flight. On this particular flight, the couple behind me had other plans. They were obnoxiously loud, super drunk, and complaining about everything. Everyone knows this scenario. It includes seat pushing, tray table slamming, way too loud laughter, and one element I had never experienced before. The man was directly behind me in the window seat and he had pushed his bag up under my seat so far that it was sticking out from under my seat, and he kept kicking it with his feet in his fits of laughter. At one point I got up to use the restroom and glared at them to indicate that I hated them. They responded by cranking up the volume and energy. I decided to do the cliché thing: if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. I ordered several mini bottles of vodka and a soda to enjoy while I worked out my plan. And that is when the miracle happened. We were close to landing, so I had to slam down my last few vodkas and put the tray table up. This would be his last chance to forcefully slam his shut and my first chance to take action. I had to time this just right or else I would have been caught. You see, in his kicking fits of bliss, one of his shoes had become untied and the lace was right under my seat. In that moment, where the plane hits the tarmac and everyone is praying to their gods hoping we don't die in a fiery ball of flames skidding down the runway, I was hunched over working frantically to tie this guy's shoelace over the top of the metal bar of my seat and onto the strap of his bag. Once I succeeded to get a clusterfuck of a genuine knot together, I sat up and looked straight ahead. When the captain gave the okay and the rapid fire of seatbelt clicking began, I sprang up and pushed my way into the aisle. I never looked back, but soon heard a commotion as myself and the other passengers pushed our way to the exit. I travel light to avoid baggage fees and claims, so I was able to head straight out front and grab my LYFT. I went home and slept like a baby that night. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.